Today, Blizzard has announced officially how the Turbo Boost event is going to work, so I wanted to spend some time in this video breaking down what their blue post talked about, along with kind of talking about trends that we've seen comparatively to last season, and what is all coming in 11.2.5. Kind of from my perspective, there's some things I'm more excited about, some things I'm less excited about, but let's just get into it. So everything I'm going to talk about in this video, in terms of the articles I'm referencing, will all be linked in the description below, so if you want to follow along or read for yourself, you definitely can. We're going to start here on WoWhead. Puzzling Cartel Chips and Uncapped Crest release on the 21st. So it's the second part of the Turbo Boost event. So you're thinking like, okay, part two, what does that mean? So basically Blizzard has gone ahead and said the Puzzling Cartel Chips, as they've previously stated, are going to be coming after the release of 11.2.5. Some players I think are a little bit up in arms about that because they thought it was going to be coming with the 11.2.5 patch, but Blizzard explicitly said that in the past. So what is coming then in 2 weeks when we get the next patch? So basically what Blizzard is going to do is they're going to increase the hero track and mythic track on your gear from 4 of 6 or 6 of 6 to basically out of 8. So you can see here in game, I have the half mask of fallen storms. It's a mythic track helm. Instead of being 6 of 6 like it normally would be on live servers, it is currently sitting at 6 of 8. If I then come to the upgrade vendor and throw it in here, I can then spend 15 crests to upgrade it, 4 item levels, and then another 15 to upgrade it another 3. So this is going to bump everything up to 730 item level, which is a fairly massive power boost if you can do this to all of your items. Similarly, in Season 2, we are going to be able to actually come over here to the crafting enchanted crest person, lady, a lady with a beard. And you can buy Gilded Starlight Matrixes for 30 crests, so the same thing you would cost to upgrade, and you can then use this to recraft any of your crafted gear. So if we come in here and then in this additional reagent and augment, as they say, you can apply the Gilded Starlight Matrix to increase its item level by 7, going from 720 all the way up to 727. So a fairly powerful increase. This is all going to be available starting on the October 7th, the launch of 11.2.5. Now, unlike current PTR, where we no longer have a crest cap, that will still be in play for 3 extra weeks or 2 or 3 extra weeks until October 21st. Now, I think some players are a little bit up in arms about this, like I've kind of alluded to before, but I want to showcase what it looked like previously. So coming to actually the 11.2 or 11.1 Season 2 Turbo Boost, it actually launched on May 13th. Which included the Dinars, the extended mythic track, and the higher item level crafts all in the same week. So that's when this came out. And so then you might be asking yourself, okay, then that was the launch of the patch, right? Actually, no. So 11.1.5 actually came out in week 8 of the season, which came out on April 22nd. And the Turbo Boost, as you can clearly see from the data that's being shown here, there was a huge spike in keys being done on the week 11 of the season, which was May 13th. I think Blizzard is doing a better job this time by kind of slow rolling out, and I wouldn't call it time gating. I think they're just slow rolling out how this is working. So you're getting extended mythic tracks here and hero tracks as well. And then you're getting uncapped and dinars and warbound transferable valor stones a couple weeks after the patch, which I think is going to just feel much better. So the issue that I ran into last time personally is that I felt like I had to be on farming 15 plus keys to get the 300 give or take crests that I needed to upgrade all of my mythic track gear to max item level. And it felt like you got thrown in the deep end. Like, here you go, we're unleashing the floodgates, have fun. And this was great for someone like me who has, I have the ability to play this game probably more than the average person. But if you were some average Joe, just can do a couple keys a night, maybe you felt like you were going to slowly fall behind if you couldn't keep up with the crazy crest farm that every other person could do. And I even saw this in my raid team. We had some players like myself who were able to hit the highest item level mark that night. And then we, when we got to our raid boss that we were progressing, I believe we were on Mugsy or Gallywix at the time. We had some people who were max and then some people who were 6 to 8 item levels lower than everyone else. And so I think it's a much better cadence to allow players to have the increased cap before. If you're a player who's somewhat serious and has farmed all their mythic track gear and everything, You're still going to be able to upgrade. It's going to be give or take 2 to 3 weeks. You can get 90 crests per week, which means you can max out 3 extra items you have, bumping them up to 730. This is obviously going to be really good on something like weapons. It's going to be really good on like your main set pieces, trinkets, for example. All of these things that you can upgrade immediately are going to be really good. And then eventually when the turbo boost kind of releases in its part 2, that's where you're going to have access to your dinar, and then you can transfer valor stones around. You're going to have the increased drop rate of champion, I guess like warband gear, and you're only going to have like 4, 5, 6 items to upgrade still till max. And then plus, if you really need to, if you're playing like multiple sets, like let's say you're playing Brew, Windwalker, and Mistweaver, you probably have different gear sets, and then you can spend the rest of your time kind of slow farming that up. Basically what I'm trying to say is I think this cadence is much better. I think some people are maybe misremembering how Turbo Boost worked last time, where they kind of threw you in the deep end, where this time they're actually slow rolling it, and we're getting access to this stuff earlier rather than later. Again, I wouldn't call it time gating. I just think they're just doing a better cadence, which I really like. I like how they're doing this. Now, some other stuff that's coming out in the next patch. I'm going to leave this below if you want. Nice AT&T ad. Basically, we're getting Legion Remix. So if you liked Mop Remix or you want some of these really cool things from Legion, you can definitely do that. Now, unfortunately, they are time gating all of this stuff for Legion Remix, but definitely worth playing. There's a lot of cool recolored Order Hall mounts. You have the Ashara shit. You have this super sick Mog that would look dope for like a dude, a pallet. Oh my god, a paladin in this would look so tight. Warlocks, whatever. So really cool gear. So Legion's coming out. We obviously have the Turbo Boost event, which also kind of outlines some details. We also have the Turbo Boost event guide, which I can go into in a second. We're also getting improvements to the cooldown manager and UI updates. And I've done a video talking about this. I'll try to link it on screen if I remember. But basically, we're getting some pretty massive improvements here with more agency over what you want to track and not track. And I think, again, step in the right direction, very good. Now, if we come to the Turbo Boost event guide, it's going to break down everything that's happening. So just one last little recap. October 7th is when you're going to get the upgraded tracks. And then October 21st is when they're unleashing the floodgate, as they say, where you're going to have the cartel chips to buy loot from Raid or Mythic Plus. The Warband loot is being doubled. Catalyst charges, which is nice for just like allocating stats elsewhere or farming transmog. Yeah, just all in all, very, very good stuff. Unfortunately, the vendor, at least back in season 2, the vendor resided right outside of the bank in Dornegal, no longer here. Not sure if they just haven't added it yet, or maybe it's in a different location. But I'm just going to assume that the vendor is currently not on the PTR, so I'd like to showcase that to see what items are available. Most likely it's going to be weapons, trinkets, and any cantrip effects from the raid. And then, obviously, we're probably going to assume it's just going to be Mythic Plus trinkets, but it would be nice if there was some cantrip weapons also purchasable from this vendor. For example, as a Brewmaster Monk, it would be really nice to be able to buy the staff from Arakara, Harvester's Interdiction. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. I don't know what else to really talk about. That is everything coming in the next week or so in 11.2.5 and then in the weeks following. So I hope that all made sense. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.